Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Seftimor Live B Plus podcast. Today we have the Star Wars Rogue One podcast, and it's the first podcast that I have whiskey on.
That's not whiskey. It's tea.
It's whiskey tea.
Oh, that sounds
Should
not
probably
good.
should probably turn my notifications off so I'm not an asshole the entire podcast, huh?
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah. So Star Wars Rogue One, a little late to the game, but yeah, Nasom, you could lead this one off.
I don't know with what foot I would like to lead this one off.
Do a good one.
People talk about, putting your best foot forward. That's a saying or whatever. But I was very excited to go see Rogue One, and so were a lot of people. And I remember driving past the local Cinemark and seeing like a sea of cars, if you will. And in my head, I heard a cheering crowd, and they were all just saying one thing, like a stadium. They were going, Rogue One, Rogue One, Rogue One. And I would kind of like repeat that every time I would drive past or see how big the movie was. And like, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be great. I love the last movie they had finally put out, The Force Awakens. And I sat down, watched the movie, and I was so underwhelmed about Rogue One. And I'm a fan of Star Wars, and like it's not like I'm exclusive. I'll watch Star Trek. I like the Next Generation, but I think that, and I just could not believe it was happening in front of me, that they got it wrong on this one. And I'm like, no, please don't. Like the last 20 minutes maybe was the best part for me, but I won't say anything because we didn't do our spoilers thing yet.
They know there's spoilers.
I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand, but you know what I really don't understand is how like studio execs were so willing to play it so like, oh, I don't know, non-risky. Like here's our formula. This is what we want to do, and this is how we're going to execute. And then you get Rogue One, and I'm just like, oh wow, I didn't expect it to turn out like this. I think I went in with high expectations, and I left with like, I don't know. I was
like, George Lucas the movie?
Oh man, like
George Lucas that doesn't advance anywhere.
He can George Lucas his own prequels, which he did, and we all saw how that worked out. I mean, we could talk a while about the prequels, but this isn't the prequels episode. This is an episode about Rogue One. So, what was the biggest? What was going to drag down this movie? For me, it was the story. Wasn't the story I thought it was going to be like. I mean, yeah, it's like watching the Titanic. We all know what's going to happen, but I want to see how it's going to happen. And it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It really dragged at certain points in the film. And the biggest thing for me was like, wow, these characters, I don't care about any of them. And it's not me being heartless. They're not developing these characters. The characterization is not there. Not even like with Jin, the main character. I'm just like, wow, like look at her face. I put her face as my icon tonight. Like, look at that face. It's just like, like she makes a speech. I'm not inspired. Like it was the father-daughter relationship didn't work. The love relationship forced on you at the end. I mean, I'm like, that didn't work. Like,
yeah, some of that was pretty canned. I agree.
I mean, like I walked away and I was like, hey, that K2SO robot was pretty cool. He was one-dimensional. He was the comic relief, and he was the only character that I kind of liked. And he's a robot. A one-dimensional robot was the best actor in the movie. And
that's funny.
What? Like the best character in the movie? Come on. So I don't know. Why don't you guys talk about what you thought about it, and we'll just kind of go back and forth.
All right, I'll go. Well, Patrick, you can go.
Yeah, just because I was listening to Nason's explanation, and I feel like he's onto something. And the reason why I feel that is because, so he's talking about character development, right? And if we look at the prequels and the originals, you're taken on a journey, a multi movie journey with these characters, and there's a lot of like you kind of grow on them and stuff. And I think, knowing that about the other ones, I just find it interesting because you went into this Star Wars, a Rogue One, and for the most part, it's definitely a spin-off. You know, it's kind of like its own thing, and it still has that Star Wars name, but here you are saying exactly like where the kind of kind of fell short. Like when you think Star Wars, you're thinking, all the crazy, recognizable and hallmark characters of the series, and here's just a one-off where everyone's pretty condensed down into like. I think if Rogue One didn't have the Star Wars name to it, it'd probably be a pretty cool movie, at least on its own for action, I guess. But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the
know.
thing, though. Like,
You have a really good point. Like I'm kind of seeing that because like how can you really get excited about it when like it's so brief? Like yeah, okay, cool. It's a great taste of Star Wars. It was a different direction in a sense. You got to see, and then of course that last 20 minutes. But yeah, like Star Wars is it's such a big and powerful thing with these ongoing characters and stuff like that to the originals, that this one-off, and like that with the new ones too, you're going to get this really long told story, but Rogue One, it was just like, here's these people, all right, it's over. So what I mean? So I see where you're.
Yeah, like I mean, I was so excited to see this movie, and that obviously they did their best to let us know that you're going to be able to see a Star Wars movie every year for the foreseeable future, all of the future. And this is what happens. I think that they're not going to take risks on certain things, want to make a lot of money off something. You have exactly what you were talking about in A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. You had characters you cared about. They were fun. You wanted to see what they were going to do. Their interactions were great. Like it all worked. They had chemistry. Like you were looking forward to see what Han was going to do, or Leia, or like Luke, or you wanted to know what was going to happen next. They actually talked to each other like while scenes were going on, and like pew 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 and stuff was going on like that. Like it worked. Like I was watching some of this and like. Or large parts of this where like they're just showing you a lot of action or not action, and like people really aren't talking to each other. I'm just like, well, okay, so it all becomes about here's our mission, and we have to get to this and get there and get this done, and let's do this. And like I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought since this is supposed to be them getting the plans from the Death Star, we're gonna go to the Death Star and break in and like have to download the plans. I'm like, is this going to be a heist film, but Star Wars? Like, oh, how cool. And then like, I'm watching and I'm like, this isn't a heist film. This isn't the Italian Job or the Ocean's 11. There's no crack team that's specially put together just to get this one job done. And I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So if we're not going to do it that way, and Jin's father knows what he built into it, like, couldn't he just like tell her? That would have been it. Like, the bomb's over there. Shoot 2 photon torpedoes down at that Star Trek, and you're done. like,
dude, you're fucking killing it. Like you're crushing it here, because everything that you're saying, like I feel the same way. So are we doing a 3-way thumbs down?
No, we can't. I'll talk about.
No. I'll kind of stand. I'd
Okay.
like kind of a neutral-ist. Like I don't.
Well,
I that I disliked it.
I can go with that too, but how I feel is the same way. But it is like a Star Wars story. So like in that sense, it's all right. But like Nathan was saying, it's just I don't give a shit about the characters except for the robot. Yeah. I don't.
The robot was cool.
They were new. They were new characters. But all right, let me ask this. Do we like the Force Awakens because of the nostalgia of the characters in it? Obviously, that's a factor. But do we like it because of that? You know, are we not going to like new characters in the universe?
Well, there were new characters,
or were they just
Awaken,
was it just shitty script or something? You know,
there were new characters in Awaken. But here's what Force Awakens did right. They took A New Hope, they took its formula, and they applied it. And then you end up with scenes of people like them living their lives, and you're starting to like identify with them. And they did backstory, they did their normal story, they did proper characterization, and the story was good. So now that I'm past seeing The Force Awakens and knowing how good it actually was, I can kind of give it well, you did kind of rip off A New Hope, but I guess that's what everybody wanted. So here we are at Rogue One, and I'm like, well, you do have new characters. You're not doing this type of characterization very well at all. I don't care for any of them, so I kind of don't care what happens in the movie, and I'm already not caring how this progresses, and I'm not even finding this fun. I'm like, And I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon here and be like, oh, all right, I'm ready to see some Darth Vader. And I was. And then, like, they showed him in the middle of the movie kind of awkwardly. Like,
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God. Dude, you're crushing it. Go ahead. Keep going.
he builds, first of all, he builds his base. I'm in Joe Base killing Joe Mans. Like, his base is built around lava. The same thing that just almost destroyed him. Like, I'm not building my base around, like, I don't know. The cold is my teacher. I don't understand. Like, so he's there, he's hanging out. He knows he has to go intervene himself. Sometimes if you're going to do a job right, you have to do it yourself. And he definitely does that by the end. And that totally, like, for me being the fanboy that won't be able to like scoff at that part, I'll say that was the best part of the movie for me. But I can't sit down for 2.5 hours or more and just have to watch 20 minutes to end to like I want to like the other stuff. I was like I don't want to be bored while I'm there. And the director, I guess, Gareth Edwards, he's great for this last 20 minutes of the film. I just keep calling it 20 minutes. It could be more or less. And it's personally my favorite. And Garrett's good at shooting like World War II-esque kind of scenes. Like you can call any World War II movie that you can think of. Like he's good at doing that. And he did that in this, but even near the end of the movie, it was kind of forced. And I'm just like, okay, well, they wanted to have this type of a battle here, and they're doing it. And I think it was Patrick and I, we were talking about, we were having wings, and I'm just like the fan service in this movie is the fan service is a term Patrick brought to my attention. And I'm like, oh, well, then it's all over this movie. It's just like, this movie's overdosed on fan service. And like, I heard people behind me making noises when they would see certain things, like they know what that is, or they recognize it. And like, I'm just like, wait a minute, like, am I here to be a fan to watch like a gigantic fan movie, or am I here to watch the next installment of something that's supposed to be given to me by Disney, by Disney's Marvel, by Disney's Rogue One story? I started to get confused. I'm like, well, I am that fan. How come I'm not flipping out right now?
I mean, do you feel it was like a script that was like written and then just put into the Star Wars?
I think it was a calculated like measure. They had to be safe. They had to make sure this will make enough money, and they didn't take the risks that they kind of could have. I mean, I saw movies take risks that paid off 100%. I saw Logan. Logan took some risks in what people can consider like indie movies trying to do, and they did it as Disney, as Marvel, and it paid off in dividends because Logan was like just an awesome movie to watch. But I didn't walk out of Rogue One thinking the same thing.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, overall, I was bored. I was just bored, and like I said, you know, there was no character engagement for me. I don't. All right, I'm gonna get a little weird here. The part about Star Wars that I don't care for that much is like the war. Like, I don't care about the war in Star Wars. It's like I enjoy the Jedi fights, the different planets, this, that, but like there was just a lot of like war going on. Like, I love the Battle of Hoth and all that, but you know, it was just more of like that to me, like a war movie or something like that, which I'm not a fan of. You know, I never watched Band of Brothers or anything like that, but to me, like I said, to me it was just boring. Like, I don't care about them going to get the plans. Like you said, like you were nailing it. The father-daughter relationship stinks.
What relationship?
He
like
right.
shoves her into a hole and he's like, hide here, and then that's it. I'm like, oh, what? Okay. Well, surely they're going to give us more. They didn't give us more.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But you know, see, it as a fan, you know, it hurts me to say these types of things, but like, it is just a Star Wars story. So if you look at it like that, then you know it's a story in the universe. I mean, I don't think it was supposed to progress anything. I don't think it was supposed to move anything forward. But
don't you think the story could have been cooler?
Well, that's why we're gonna get a Boba Fett spinoff.
Oh, okay. That's you know what? That's a good point. A Boba Fett spinoff is the part of the fandom that like creates itself. So
they could do a lot of cool
George
stuff.
Lucas makes a character named Boba Fett. He's backpacks got jets. Boba the Fett, and he's a bounty hunter. So he that's all he is. He's in a crew of bounty hunters that are in a couple scenes, and people flip out for Boba Fett. They think he's the coolest thing ever. And before you know it, George Lucas makes like all the clones into like Boba Fett. Like, I don't know. He didn't have to do that, but he did anyway because he thought he had something.
Yeah, that was weird.
A lot of this movie is like the fandom of the references of what Star Wars is over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm starting to get worried that like if they're not going to specifically try to do something with like maybe even mirroring A New Hope with Force Awakens for this next one, this is going to be a big deal because this one they didn't take any risks and it kind of like for me it kind of failed and that was really disheartening as a fan. As a fan, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm having these thoughts. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. And is like, was New Hope memorable? Hell yeah. I started to like the craze. Was Force Awakens memorable? Oh yeah. It's a complete revitalization. But is Rogue One just another quick little installment so like there was something to show in December? I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, if I could, I want to step in because I want to say Seftimor, when you were saying like you weren't a fan of the whole war of it, you're definitely hitting something because in reality, if you really want to step outside of Rogue One and look at it, it's literally a war movie that's Star Wars flavored. Like when you're talking about you know, like how you like the Jedi and stuff. Yeah, I'm like right with you there because like the last 20 minutes were great, weren't they? If they did something more based around that last 20 minutes, it would have been so much better and definitely so much more memorable because, but I think you're right. I think when you're down to brass tacks, like it's a Star Wars flavored war movie. Like I realize it's a Star Wars story, but it's literally just like, it takes all the mystique and like, now don't get me wrong. Donnie Yen's character, the monk.
Oh, people love Donnie Yen's character. Yeah.
But I mean, I love Kung Fu movies. So like, as long as somebody's kicking somebody in the head, I'm cool with it. So, but I mean, he was really cool.
Yeah.
But like he was also part of that mystique, like that Jedi, the thing that makes Star Wars Star Wars. Otherwise, it's just guys with laser guns, and like there's iconic, you know, Imperial war machines like the AT-ATs and stuff. But that's that fan service going back to it. Otherwise, it's just guys shooting at each other with guns.
Yeah,
Like,
with the AT-ATs and the AT-STs. Like I from a strategic standpoint, I don't know why this entered my head. When they're at that battle, like around their own base near the end, you have the AT-ATs and AT-STs walking around. I'm like, wait a minute, these were used on Hoth as like an offensive kind of like preemptive strike. Like this is a force to anti what the rebellion and the rebels were doing. Like, isn't it kind of weird to try to use them for defense because like they're kind of like blunt objects? Like, so like who's their coordinator exactly? Oh yeah, that's another question. Who's the bad guy in this film? We know Darth Vader's around, but he's only around once in a while. Like there's like three guys that are
director,
but in the Empire. The director's the bad guy.
I don't even remember his name. Or Orson Krennic. And actually, that's the actor from a different series that I watched. He's a good actor. The guy who played the supposed bad guy. He's a good actor. He's got
like we'll just call him like Ben because I think that was his name.
Yeah, Ben Mendes.
Okay, there you go. Donnie nailed Chirrut, I think his name was, and I guess for what would be anyone watching this, he's the Jedi link into this. He's the only one using the Force. No one uses the Force besides like Darth Vader. It's just him and him, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think, yeah.
Can I point something out about Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker's character?
Hold on, before you go.
Okay.
We go there. Can we, while you have Darth Vader on, was it me, or am I like, do I have to go back and like watch like the old movies again, or was Darth Vader like that first scene? I think you started touching on it in when that guy when you first see him and he walks out, when he talks, is it awkward? Is it weird?
Wait,
or am I just being nitpicky?
When Vader starts to talk?
Yeah, is that whole conversation like, I'm like, this is like,
well, like
fucking weird. Like, I don't know.
It's still the same voice actor from the late 70s, early 80s, right? Yeah.
James Earl Jones? It's
still James Earl Jones doing his voice, so the voice isn't like
oh yeah, it is
an impression of someone else.
Up, it's James Earl.
I started to try to get excited as like the nerdy fan in the theater as soon as that scene started, and then I felt myself like I felt that fade really fast. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, he's figuring out he has to go handle this himself. I'm like, does he look right? Does he look like I remember? Are they trying to make him too much like 80s Vader rather than like a newer Vader? But like I know you can't do both. And then before I knew it, the scene happened and left, and I'm just like, I don't think I needed that scene. It interrupted, like, well, it doesn't really interrupt the pacing because the pacing is
Yeah, the pacing was a snore fest.
I don't know. I started to get excited. Before I knew it, I thought it was awkward, and I didn't know what to think of it. So I'm just like, all right, I was supposed to be psyched and like want to jump up and clap and scream Darth Vader, but it didn't happen because the scene came and went, and I was just like, all right, fine.
Yeah. I think I just like I said about the war stuff. Like I think I have bad flashbacks to when I was a little kid, and my in Gary's mod asked me to go to see Gettysburg with his father, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to the movies. Little did I know Gettysburg's like a 6-hour movie where they like fight each other at like a snail's pace, and his father was a big war buff, so he was into it, but I was like an hour into the movie. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And then it intermissioned, and then you had to watch the other half. Oh my God, it was torture. I think that's where my hate for war stuff, Garth Ennis, Preacher, that's on AMC. He's a big war buff. You'll get Preacher, like awesome shit. And then he'll go on a 6-issue run of where he talks about a war story. And I'm like, I can't get through this.
Yeah.
I respect that, man. I think it's too glorified. Not to get off topic, but I mean, like, I think more people should be kind of averse to that. I mean, it has its place in media and stuff, obviously, but
I think it has its place.
I could go off on a tangent on that, but I just wanted to give you props. That's all.
It does have place in like Star Wars because it worked in 4, 5, and 6. Like Hope, Empire, Jedi. Like we cared about the Empire and the Rebels, and we cared about the characters. I was rooting for the Empire almost all the movies I've watched, and I still cared about like those core characters from the originals, the earliest ones, and that was just like, I don't know, good storytelling, good characters, and like I think we just want a good story with good characters at the end of the day, and that didn't happen here. And they tried to like mesh in a World War II modern day style like movie. You can call it, what'd you call it, Band of Brothers, you can call it Saving Private Ryan, you can call it, what's the one that
never saw that shit.
What's the one that Hacksaw Ridge? I saw Hacksaw Ridge recently. It was really, really good. Mel Gibson's back. So like that. That's what they put in. And this director can do it. It looks a little forced, like just dropping it in there near the ending, but it has to be like, that has to be the climax, before a resolution. So like, yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I thought the story, I just came in with a different idea. I left a changed man.
Yeah,
that's funny too, because even with the trailer, like everyone was like, "Did you see the Rogue One trailer?" I'm like, "Yeah, looks like a war movie, but instead of wearing like fatigues, they're wearing stormtrooper gear."
Can I say something about the gear?
Yeah,
Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen's bro. It's your podcast too. Donnie Yen is the link to the Jedi, and he uses the Force, but he wields a bow staff, and he's just like wrecking stormtroopers. Why do the stormtroopers have to have their armor on? What's the point? The helmets can't take like a smack from like a stick and like maybe some Force stank on it. You know what I mean? like they're getting trashed, and then his like heavy machine gunner buddy shows up, and then like, so you got Chirrut and Blaze, and they're like the connection to the Orient, because I guess that would play better for them when it gets over to like I don't know, China or Asia or like whatever you want to call it. Like so like the characters aren't bad, but then again, like after a while, I look at these 8 characters and I'm like, these aren't like the 7 samurai. These guys are just like, so I like 2 of them. There's a robot that I think's funny and like dry. So this is all I'm getting here. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So Forrest Whitaker's character, who I keep forgetting his name, Saw Gerrera, he's got all these connections. He's got his hooks into all these kind of different things. He's definitely a big player for the rebellion. And spoilers, while he has a chance to be able to like go further the cause with all the things he's built up over time, or at least on the ship be like, when they were arguing with her, like, this didn't really happen, no one saw it. He could have been like, well, I was there, so I saw it. Like, he's like, go, you guys get out of here. And he's just standing there, and they're like, come with us. And I'm like, yeah, he can totally just get on a ship right now and just like, okay. And he's part of the 9 instead of the 8. And he's like, nope, no, I can't do that. I got to let this gigantic tidal wave of an explosion come and just wipe me straight out. And like, he'll say something like, for the rebellion, or like, I'm like, he's a complete waste of a resource. Like, I don't understand. He can walk, he can still do things. All he has to do is get on the ship goes away. No, not doing that.
He doesn't want to run anymore.
Why? I have so many whys.
He's
Why?
been running forever.
Like, let me think. People getting destroyed with sticks. The heavy machine gunner. It's a heavy machine gun, like, you know, laser. So when it shoots, it's not always going to be accurate. But I saw it at one point, like all 20 lasers hit all 20 like stormtroopers. Okay.
I almost feel like I know the scene you're talking about. I'm picturing it in my head.
like did someone just cast plus luck 100 on him before like that started to happen? Because they just all nailed it. It hit them all. And like, I'll watch
Natural 20 roll.
Yeah, right. There you go. And I'll watch like lasers not hit anyone that are being shot at directly on either side, but this guy shows up and he just like, yeah, like it's I don't know, man. I wanna like this movie so bad, but there were so many things that just kept popping up to me. And I'm like, well, if I ever had a podcast to work on someday, this is the stuff I'm going to talk about. Now I'm finally doing it.
Well, because Patrick said he was had another part in, or another side to it. So let's go into some good. It's because we've been harping for a little while.
I know it's tough. We have been, and honestly, after all the harping, we picked it apart. I feel like the good that I want to say isn't gonna it's gonna be like a shadow of it. But I mean, like at the end of the day, it was like, here's my good. So and I was gonna say it in this tone and in this way before we rip the movie to shreds. But the good is that it was still a Star Wars film. I mean, like, let's be honest. Obviously, all three of us are fans, regardless of how we felt about this particular film. But you know, it fleshed out more of the universe. It was a lot of the same, but like you could look at it one way and say, I know we were like saying like, oh, everybody saw like, oh, there's the AT-AT. I mean, despite being able to come on and say the things I've said on the negative, I did the same thing too. I was like, oh, there's some AT-ATs. That's pretty awesome. And I will say that some of the settings, like some of the planet settings, where they were on that, where that installment was, that whole beach thing, that was really cool. The scenes were really good, I felt. Like just the environments and stuff were quite, especially that one in particular.
The movie looked great.
Yeah, and is kind of like stereotyped as the previews were with that goofy noise or the alarm or whatever. It definitely hyped me up pretty good. I mean, I was like, all right, I went into it really hyped up. I mean, but end of the day, more Star Wars stuff is always good. I mean, hopefully, as we kind of peel back these layers of this Star Wars onion and the new films and stuff, my biggest fear obviously is like them becoming too Hollywoodized to where it's just like, yeah, let's just fart out another Star Wars movie and make money on it because it's Star Wars. I would hate to see it turn into that. I mean, you could argue it already has with the whole new one, I guess, if you felt that way. I like the first one too. But I mean, you know, like I like Donnie Yen's character was cool as hell. I know we were looking at it as like we only like these three characters, but for a one of, they were pretty cool characters, you know.
The robot was the best.
Yeah, he was hysterical. I mean, and
he was. I was like literally laughing out loud.
Yeah, he was.
It's almost like the robot hated all the characters around him, and I did too, so I identified with them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's
like
cool because like Disney could like take that. Not that like I don't know how much power they have in the movie, but you know they do those things in their movies now. You know what I mean? Like in their animations and stuff like that. They have that humor where even an adult could watch one and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So they could apply that to these droids, to these robots. And I mean, even when that was one of my favorite scenes was when they were first staking out or going into the city. Like, you sit here, or she says, are we leaving the target practice behind? And he's like, are you talking about me? And they give him a bag and he's holding it and he just goes, drops it. And like, I don't know, that stuff to me is amusing. Maybe I'm simple-minded, but that stuff to me is awesome.
He was a rewired Empire droid, and like, I don't know, I like to think that some of his roots in his code were like, oh, I hate all these rebel scum.
Yeah, but every scene with him was awesome. Even when the Empire finds them and says like, we got to take them, and he comes in and tries to act like an Empire robot again.
Yeah, he's like, I remember this.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like that was great. I love it. And I mean, you know, as long as we never get another Jar Jar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I mean, we're far from Jar Jars at this point, but Patrick was right. The Battle of Scarif, whatever you want to call it, that's on Endor. So it was a good fight. It was a good that version of a battle that you got to see, even though some other people might not care about what's going on in between the Alliance and the Empire. It showed you, I guess, the conflict that was there, but the conflict is always going to be there because it's always supposed to be about the underdog, the rebellion versus the Empire. And oh man, I'm trying to think other characters besides Force Whitaker. Oh, Grand Moff Tarkin. I'm not sure if you guys remember your Star Wars, but Grand Moff Tarkin was played by Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing was, for all intents and purposes, back in the day, a vampire slayer, I guess, right? He was always trying to kill Dracula, but he was in the original Star Wars: A New Hope. And I mean, they decided to have him in here, and he was like CG'd. So there's a guy.
Terrible.
There's a guy that plays him.
Myself anywhere, it was terrible.
But it's like
he was so much taller than Ben. What the hell? Ben Mendel's.
Yeah.
It just looked weird. It looked like Ben was standing next to an alien.
So I'm like, is Ben Mendel standing next to an alien, like regrown creation of Grand Moff Tarkin, or like
they should have just left him out? I get that's more fan service.
Yeah, the fan service never stopped. I was excited that when I understood he was going to be in the film, awesome. But then I saw him, I'm like, oh, this is kind of distracting. And then like Leia's like younger character being there, distracting. But again, like you were pointing out, more fan service. And like seeing C-3PO and R2-D2 at that point, I'm just like, oh, it's not needed. It's unnecessary. Is this distracting too? I'm like, wow.
Because I feel like it diminishes, like it just we were just talking about the good parts, but we're just taking another dump on this. But I mean, like, it just diminishes, like the fact that they have to inject that fan service diminishes the characters that you're trying to like as the movie goes on. Like you just said, like you're trying to follow all these guys that we're being introduced to, and they just jam C-3PO in your face. And it's like, cool, I know C-3PO, but it's really not about him. And then that it's funny. It's just funny how like this is all circular and as we talk about it, it's just more and more. I hate to gripe on it because at the end of the day, like I didn't mind paying the money to see it. It was okay. It's like you said earlier, it's not going to be more like memorable, but like that's right there. It's just it. Like here's these characters that we're suddenly thrown into with, and they have this struggle, but here's Grand Moff Tarkin out of nowhere, CGI ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I feel like we've analyzed this very well.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else?
Who was the other reference they made after having to see? Oh, the "You'll be dead." The guy was there too, and I'm like, do we need to put the guy that looks like he has the butt on the chin of his face in the movie? But they did anyway. Loved that Darth Vader was in it.
Yeah, that scene was amazing.
It made the movie for me at the end, but it wasn't enough for me to walk away and be like, well, it was worth it for the last 20 minutes. So like that extra CGI stuff and the R2-D2, like Patrick was just saying, like it's too much fan service at this point, and like it's taking us away from the movie we're trying to watch. I thought this should have been a bank like heist movie, and like I thought that would have done it like for me. And it was something very different. And
my motto is the first 90 minutes are free. After that, you got to sell me.
Oh man, then you would have been done, right?
Yeah, 90 minutes in, I'm like, I don't care for this. I was, I'm on my phone checking Twitter, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm watching Star Wars.
You're tired.
I'm like, I'm watching Star Wars. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not. I'm just, nah. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got. Unless you guys got anything else.
I want to throw in kind of like a tech IT guy rant about Rogue One. So there is a scene where they're trying to extract the plans, and they're going through like this library. It's kind of like where they have to operate the arms. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Where, the robot's holding off like the. If we're talking about a universe, and I hate to be this guy,
I know, right? I thought the same thing, but go for it.
Literally have like crazy space travel.
Yeah.
why are like the hard drives for these plans have to be
I don't know.
operated with like crane arms? It just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
So that
The
kind
database.
of, I was
You
thinking
know-
about it. And
Did you ever hear of Neil deGrasse Tyson?
yes,
Yeah.
You know, I think he stopped. He was just on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was tweeting out like all these space movies and like what was wrong with them. And he's like, I'm just making, he's like, I'm just having fun, but like he'll write like something will blow up and it'll be like there's no
sound in space. Sorry.
Yeah, or there's no, it can't, that explosion can't happen.
No, it's a vacuum. It's
Or
impossible.
he was talking about what's that movie? What's the movie with Sandra Bullock?
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
The last movie she was in,
was
that
it Contact?
no,
But that was the
that was
movie,
Jodie
right?
Foster. You're thinking about here. I'll tell you in a second.
Oh yeah. What was it?
George Clooney was in it. I saw it. It was good.
Yeah.
But what they had done in that movie was take all the knowledge that we have of our own space program and push it a little bit forward, right? So,
Well, he was talking about when she's like jumps from like one place to like the next space station. He's like, that's so far away.
gravity.
Gravity, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's so far away. He's like, you can't just jump. And but he tweets things like this. So that's why I was interested to what Patrick said, because
yeah. It made me laugh because it's like, come on now, we're flying in space, but your hard drives, like, you need cranes to pick them up, or
Yeah, but that's hilarious. And so it goes to show you that their tech for that time has advanced so much that you have a faster than light travel speed, which is phenomenal. Okay, like you got FTL drives,
Yeah.
but you have to have like their versions of a hard drive or data storage be moved back and forth by these arms in like their database or library, and like that also comes around with that Star Wars like retro. We're going to make all these movies look like the original movies. So we're going to have to make their tech look retro, but their tech has to be higher than anything that we have on Earth. But like, he's completely right. Like there should be some solid state kind of like access to this information. And it should be so massive that they never have to worry about running out of space. Right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they need it to, like, it's self-serving because it provides like suspense as this is all going on. Like, I get that.
Absolutely.
It's just my little gripe. I mean, everybody who's like, who's run into those situations where you actually know how some of these things work, you go, hey,
wait a minute.
Works.
That's funny. And you're so right. And yeah, I don't even want to call it a plot device because that would have to propel the plot forward. It's like a scene device for this scene.
Yeah.
Like these robot hands, and this can be like this. Like, I don't know.
Because literally the robot could have plugged his thumb into the computer and went, okay, I have the plans. Let's go.
Done.
Yeah, I got it.
That's why, like, even in my own mind, I'm like, this will be the best heist movie ever because it's Star Wars. And then I'm there watching it, and I'm like, oh wow, this really is just not happening like I kind of wanted it to in my mind. And I'm just like, okay, calm down. It'll be fine. Darth Vader's around the corner. He'll be here. He'll be ready in a minute.
And then when he showed up, I didn't give a shit.
He showed up, I'm like, that wasn't cool. And then like the last 15 minutes were really cool. But like that was just me being like that much of a fan, being like, oh, okay. You could have did the heist movie and then still had the last 20 minutes like they had it exactly in the movie, and I thought the whole experience would have been cooler. I don't know if we would have liked any of the characters because they just weren't into like developing them. So like she has like this big speech before the rebellion speech, and when she's done with it, I'm just like, all right, I'm not rooting for your rebellion, but like if I was, I couldn't get that little like, yeah. Like I was just like, oh,
you can do it.
Like I didn't have any of that. I was just like, oh, so that's your speech?
Yeah. So I apologize to anyone out there that enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed it.
I thought we were gonna have well, me and Nathan talked about it a little bit, so I thought we were gonna have a two-way with you taking it the other way, but
sorry.
No, I don't care. That's awesome. This is a blast. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, sweet. Yeah, let's do this because we're getting out of control here.
We are getting out of control. This has got to be stopped.
As always, this is brought to you by SeftimorLive.com. If you enjoy this, please give us a like and hit the subscribe button so you never miss any updates that we got. Other than that, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you or not. All right, bye.